Mhm.
Iya, siaran langsung ini dibawakan khas kepada Anda melalui channel siaran ini. Sebuah inisiatif kolaboratif Pejabat Pendidikan Daerah Tuaran Sabah, Pejabat Pendidikan Daerah Batu Pahat Johor, Pejabat Pendidikan Daerah Seberang Perai Penang, dan Jabatan Pendidikan Wilayah Persekutuan Putrajaya. Tumpukan perhatian Anda. Siaran langsung akan bermula sebentar lagi. Link digit akan diberikan di ujung siaran ini. Pastikan diisi dalam tempo yang ditetapkan. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and blessed Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Professional Learning Community Chatting International Benchmark 2021, enabling the Education Office towards a new norm education. A very good day to Yang Dihormati Datu Dr. Misrin Binti Radin, the Director of Sabah State Education, respected Deputy Directors and Senior Officers in Sabah State Education, Wan Haja Wanihim Binti Osman, Head of Tuaran Education Office, and my fellow colleagues. Here we are bringing you live from PPD Tuaran YouTube, MOE, and Facebook. Sabah hebat, katakan tidak kepada nombor 16 dan ya kepada 10 terbaik. Salam PPD Tuaran sederap menerajui perubahan. Hello, I'm Debby Aliyudin, your moderator for today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me briefly highlight our PLC today. We will be listening to distinguished speakers from 3 countries, and each will share their best practices in conducting teaching and learning activities during this pandemic. I am very sure all of us are in dire need of information and in thirst to learn more. So let us all take this golden opportunity to learn from our fellow educators who are kindly enough to be with us today. For that, I would like to convey my gratitude to the 4 education officers who had made this happen for us. The District Education Office of Tuaran Sabah, the District Education Office of Batu Pahat Johor, Putrajaya Education Department of the Federal Territory, and the District Education Office of Seberang Perai Selatan Penang. Our heartfelt gratitude to all of these education officers for joining forces and making it happen for us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the audience from Malaysia and other countries, we are pleased to welcome you to this meaningful sharing. Today's forum is one of the highlights of this 2 days program. We really hope it would fulfill its objective, which is to share various best practices in conducting teaching and learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Hence, we are very lucky to hear from speakers on this. Hopefully, the insights are able to motivate our dear educators in Malaysia, as well as giving them some starting points in their teaching and learning activities. Without further ado, I would like to welcome a beautiful and remarkable lady, the rose among the shining knights today, our first speaker of this forum. She is the branch director, Center of Excellence in Kazakhstan, an English teacher with more than 35 years of experience in education. She has contributed a lot in preparing teachers in updated curriculum for comprehensive school education in the Republic of Kazakhstan, as well as widening the net of professional communities, and is responsible in strengthening the status of the Center of Excellence in Educational System. Furthermore, our first speaker has published various methodical literature with 23 articles and 4 methodical books, and also organizing and conducting in-service training courses for pedagogical staffs through workshops, seminars, conferences, and researches. She was the winner of the English Access Microscholarship Program in the United States of America, the Best Regional Teacher, the National Winner of Teacher Excellence Award, and a Jubilee Medal of 10 years from the Kazakhstani Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, or should I say in Kazakhstani, Salamet Sezbi Kadis Kalai. Did I get it right? I hope. Selamat datang. Welcome, Madam Tavilya Akimora, Branch Director, Center of Excellence of Kazakhstan. Welcome, Madam.
Hello, Debbie. Thank you for introducing me. And can I share my presentation? Can you see it well?
Yes, Madam.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for introducing Debbie. Thank you for nice words about me. It's an honor to be here with you today, and thanks for inviting to this remarkable conference, remarkable event. And warm greetings from Kazakhstan. I work in the Center of Excellence, the main office of which is situated in Nur-Sultan. Nur-Sultan is the capital of our country, and it is considered as one of the fastest developing capitals in the world. And it hosted an international expo in 2017, and I hope that in a few years, maybe in 2024, Nur-Sultan will be hosting WAS conference, and the year is being decided now. But using this opportunity, I would like to invite all of you to our conference. Welcome to Nur-Sultan in 2024. We know that Malaysia is very interested in lesson study, and I hope to see many of you in our city, in our capital, at the WAS conference. So I work now at the Center of Excellence. This is an organization which deals with in-service teacher training. So we provide courses or professional development courses for kindergartens, schools, college, and university teachers. And then we offer post-course support through webinars, seminars, through conferences. And I should say that the Center of Excellence is one of the main agents or doers of lesson study in Kazakhstan. In his last letter, Dr. Peter Dudley, the president of the World Association of Lesson Study, wrote to me that Kazakhstan may have the highest proportion of schools conducting lesson study outside Japan. And Dr. Peter Dudley knows Kazakhstan rather well, and I can believe him. I can admit that this is true, and this result is due to the work that my organization, that the Center of Excellence, has been doing for these 9 years. And what is more, this work is supported by the government. My presentation, my sharing will consist of two parts. The first part, will tell you about what is being done in respect of lesson study in Kazakhstan before the pandemic period and during the pandemic period. And the second part will be a case study of one of the schools. So in this slide, you see the main dimensions of disseminating and sustaining, what is more important, sustaining lesson study in Kazakhstan. As I said, the Center of Excellence is the main agent of this process. We offer professional development courses, and the main courses are multi-level programs for school leaders, mainly for school principals, and we offer trainers training courses. This is a cascade training. Then we offer post-course support for teachers, and we provide conferences and take part in the conferences. As a result, as a professor from Cambridge University, Elaine Wilson said, lesson study has been established in Kazakhstan because teachers are enabled to have increased access to new knowledge, increased opportunity to collaborate and to be engaged in collective inquiry. If we speak in detail about the courses that we provide. The main and the most important might be multi-level programs. We have 3 courses based on these multi-level programs, and while taking and passing these courses, classroom teachers increase their pedagogical knowledge, their professionalism, and one of the modules of these 3 programs is the module devoted to lesson study. During their practice period of this course, teachers organize lesson study groups and hold lesson study in their schools. That is, they spread new knowledge and they involve to this new knowledge new teachers through lesson study groups. And school principals make a favorable, maybe, or create favorable opportunities for these teachers to collaborate and network within the school and beyond the school. Another important program which is devoted to lesson study or connected with lesson study is the program for school leaders, for school principals. And one of the big modules of this program is devoted to lesson study. That is, school principals launch lesson study groups in their schools during their practice period. And then when they come back to continue their studying at this program, on this program, they write a reflection journal about how it all went on in their school, what changes lesson study and their other activities, including lesson study, bring to their school development. And I should say that here, about 30% of all school teachers in Kazakhstan have undergone them during the past 9 years. And of course, these teachers spread lesson study in their communities. And concerning this, the program for school principals, 100% of school principals, this year we're finishing this program, and 100% of school principals will have finished this program by the end of 2021. And from this, you can make a conclusion that 100% of schools are involved or were involved or have been involved into lesson study. And maybe due to this program, the majority of schools, the majority of teachers are informed about lesson study. So another program, this is another course that is offered by the Center of Excellence. We practice cascade training. You know that the staff of the Center of Excellence is rather small. In Kazakhstan, there are only 120 people who work in 14 branches of the Center of Excellence. This is not very many people. And we decided to prepare the ambassadors of lesson study who will distribute lesson study, who will bring lesson study closer to their teachers, to their colleagues. And we started training teachers to be school trainers of lesson study. That is, by now, more than 12,000 teachers are lesson study trainers at schools. Each of them hold a school-based training course, practice-based inquiry, where during this intra-school program, they train their colleagues. This 40-hour course has everything connected with the lesson study. That is lesson study cycle, lesson planning, the ways of observing the lesson, ways of lesson analysis, and what is more, they try to show the ecology and culture of lesson study and try to insert it into the culture of their schools. I told about the conferences that we have three types of conferences connected with walls. The first is we have special sessions devoted to lesson study within the annual NIS International Conferences. This year in November, we are holding an NIS International Conference, and I have an honor to hold a big session connected for lesson study. Then every year we participate in WALS conferences. According to the previous, I think I have the figures of Amsterdam conference, and Kazakhstan was in the 10 top countries with the highest number of participants in the WALS conference in Amsterdam. And I think this is true for other conferences as well. Then we conduct annual regional lesson study conferences. So in Kazakhstan, there are 14 regions and 3 main cities. In 2017, we came to the decision to hold regional conferences. They're small, for 250, 300 teachers. But why did we decide to hold the conferences? Why do we need these small conferences? In order to unite those people who are involved in lesson study, to make them a platform to share their experience, maybe to search the answers to their questions, to make connections, which is very important, and as a result, to promote lesson study further on. In 2020 and 2021, we held and we're holding online conferences. Then we provide continuous support through lesson study, through the website of lesson study. Also, it is administered by the Center of Excellence. We prepared a set of resources, and we can offer these resources to teachers. This box contains materials. We call it lesson study box, and it contains materials which can be helpful for those who are eager to participate in lesson study. Handbook of Peter Dudley, then instructions how to choose the research lesson, how to make a lesson plan or lesson plan templates. It contains lesson observation templates, some video recordings, such kind of stuff. We are lucky to have our knowledgeable others from other countries, from Japan, from Great Britain, who used to come to Kazakhstan and to share their experience face to face. The last year we had an online webinars prepared by Dr. Peter Dudley, Dr. Elaine Wilson from Cambridge University, and the last seminar was devoted to conducting online lesson study. And his idea, this webinar was for the trainers of the Center of Excellence, and the trainers of the Center of Excellence disseminated these ideas to schools. I would like to finish the first part of my presentation with this timeline of implementing and, what is more important, sustaining lesson study in Kazakhstan. As you see from this timeline, the history of lesson study in Kazakhstan is rather short, only 9 years. We started our first courses in 2012. And if you see at the years of all these activities, you see that it is a sustainable process, that we do many things at the pandemic period as well. Those training programs, we hold conferences, we have regional conferences, we have all those intra-school professional development courses. And I mentioned, not mentioned, but marked one date, 1 year in green, because in 2015, the Center of Excellence, not Kazakhstan, but the Center of Excellence becomes an official member of the board of the World Association of Lesson Studies, and we represent Kazakhstan in this group of expert countries. And we still continue being a member of this board. So Professor Akihiko Takahashi wrote an article, and I like its title, Lesson Study, Nice to Have or Must Have. And we can say that in Kazakhstan, it is a more like must-have process. It is a top-down process, because the Center of Excellence disseminates this process. The government supports all our programs and all our initiatives, and we try to bring our schools to the deeper understanding of lesson study, and to acquire that lesson study is nice to have. So we are explaining that this is nice to have, but at the same time it is must have process. So I think the first part of my sharing will be interesting, or could be interesting for educators. And the second part might be interesting for schools. If we, or concerning the lesson study, we can differentiate two groups, big groups of schools. Schools with a small number of students and big schools. So the first schools with a small number of schools, they had enough space in their buildings to keep the social distance, and that's why during the pandemic period they had this traditional schooling, that is, all students went to school at a regular way, and that's why lesson study was done regularly in these schools. But the 70% of schools are big schools which couldn't afford traditional schooling during the pandemic period. So that's why they had distant schooling and consequently online lesson studies. For case study, I have taken Nazarbayev, one of the Nazarbayev intellectual schools. It is situated in my region, in Aktobe, in Kazakhstan. There are 720 students in this school and about 120 teachers. Usually 15 groups of lesson study work in this school. But I have taken 4 newly developed lesson study groups, and I made interview with these groups, and would like to present the answers to these questions. Here I should say that in Kazakhstan we adopted the format of lesson study proposed by Dr. Peter Dudley. It slightly differs from the Japanese lesson study, but it preserves all the basic features of lesson study. So, and I asked the teacher the following questions. What changed during your online lesson study? What's the difference between the traditional and online lesson study concerning all the steps of the of lesson study process? So, and we came to the following results. If we take the stage of lesson study group forming, so almost no difference. So in a traditional lesson study, teachers meet as a lesson study group, then make sure that they are comfortable with each other and they're ready to take risks together, and they're ready to think out of the box and to express their ideas out loud. Then during these group meetings, they settle about the focus and the research questions for their lesson study. In an online lesson study, they did all the same, but they used high quality platforms and carried this process on the platforms. What is important here, that they carried this process live in real time. Of course, they used chat, WhatsApp chats, then emails, but they said this is only additional means to enhance their live discussion. Live discussion is the most important thing here, because emotions matter, intonation matters, connection matters, eye contact, gestures. That is, they needed to see each other live, because everyone was far from school, and these live meetings were important to make these connections and to do all these things that are connected with lesson study. Let's take the stage of collaborative planning. In a traditional lesson study, teachers work in these collaborative groups to carry Kyosai Kyonkyu. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. This is a study of material relevant to the research theme. They follow the basic rules of a research conversation. And they follow all the key steps, that is, select the students to monitor. This is according to Pete Dudley's procedure of lesson study. They predict what they will do and say at the key moments. They set the time for after lesson discussions. In an online format, they did all the same, but again, they made these meetings face-to-face in real time through the Teams, Zoom, Jitsi platforms. Then, what is extra, they used Google Docs to share the lesson plan and to keep records of meetings. They predicted responses, behavior, and performance of students ABC as well, but they wrote it in Google Docs. And they said that they worked simultaneously. That is, they saw each other and talked to each other in Teams or in the Zoom, and at the same time they filled in these Google Docs documents. And they decided to choose a different text color for each teacher's entry. For example, teacher 1 chooses black color, teacher 2 green color, teacher 3, let's say, brown color, and everyone sees who is making the entries, whose idea or what idea belongs to whom, in order to discuss it in details. So this is the combination combination of real-time discussion and the usage of all these things that online provides for us. The second is teaching and observation. In a traditional lesson study, they conduct a research lesson, they observe the students using different observation methods. They keep clear, well-readable, and sufficiently detailed entries in the workbook or in the handbook or in protocols, as they say, for analysis and subsequent reporting. And they keep the workbook in terms. In an online lesson study, they do the same. All our Nazarbayev intellectual schools use Teams platform, and that's why they conducted a research lesson online on a high quality platform that is Team. But they had an alternative to watching the lesson. It is a video recording, of course with parents' permission to record. And the video recording helped them to see some things which they were not able to see at the online lesson. And what is important here, they can watch online and then later look through the recording of the lesson to feed their observation sheet. Then they used lesson observation maps, both in the usual format, or not maps, maybe templates, both in the usual format, writing on paper, and at the same time in Google Docs or Google Presentations or Padlets. They said that this was very good, and everyone sees. So in Google Docs, we can make a shared document, and the observers can see later what other observers noticed, saw in this lesson. Then they used breakout rooms to see more closely how a student learns through teamwork in groups. Of course, it is different from being in the classroom, seeing the emotions of the students. But nevertheless, this is one of the opportunities to see group work. And then they compared the actual behavior or learning of students in the lesson with what the research lesson showed. So this is like in the traditional lesson study. So another stage is student interview. I think this is, student interview is important in order to see their view, to take the feedback from them, what worked well and what didn't work concerning the similar pupils and what can be improved. And in online lesson study, they did all the same, of course, but used Zoom, Teams, WhatsApp. But some of them, one group suggested using Google Forms. That is, they had a sort of questionnaire, and students answered these questions on their cell phones, and it was not difficult at all to conduct student interviews. And here, I think the confidentiality was kept more than in traditional lesson study. The period of reflection, this is the period when, after the lesson, when they gather together and discuss the lesson. And in an online format, they did all the same, that they take turns discussing the training of each individual student, discussing the interviews, the questions related to teaching. They compare the expected and actual actions of students ABC, what they did and said at the key moments of the lesson, of the study process. But again, these meetings should be done in real time the collaboration should be a real-time collaboration. We told our teachers about the importance of real-time collaboration, and thank you for the teachers that they kept to it. Teachers learn a lot in the process of live communication. Then and sharing is I think the same as in a traditional and online lesson studies. They speak at method councils, they write articles, they speak at conferences. Usually all the teachers who are involved into lesson study are suggested or proposed or invited to take part in the regional conferences. They conduct seminars, and everything can be done synchronously or asynchronously.
Right, Madam Tavilya.
Yeah.
We have some questions for in from our audience.
I'm finishing, and maybe in
All right, Madam.
in some 5 minutes, maybe. Okay. Is it
Yes,
okay?
please, Madam. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
worries.
Thank you. Because I have a question, and to the audience as well. We asked this question to our teachers of these 4 focus groups. So, what features of the online lesson study could be saved when returning or coming back to the traditional lesson study, concerning all the stages of this of lesson study process? I would be very pleased if you write your answers in the chat box, and our moderator Debbie could read your answers if it is possible on this StreamYard. So and here are the answers that not the answers, but we asked about the advantages and disadvantages of online lesson study. And as you see, there are more advantages than disadvantages of lesson study. Concerning the disadvantages, of course, it was difficult to see fully emotions and body language of students. Sometimes there was bad internet connection of some students. That's why their videos were not available. And it was difficult to say whether they are participating in the lesson or just keeping silent. But I think this is the drawback not only of online lesson study, but online lessons in general. And one group said that it was not convenient to observe selected students ABC, and they started observing the whole class. I remember that Toshe Chichibu from Japan, expert of lesson studies, said that in his opinion, it is better to watch the whole class. So we give the freedom to our teachers, of course, to choose this to observe ABC students or to observe the whole group. It's okay, I think, with this. And as for the advantages, you see that they say that online platforms added speed and mobility in the stages which require gathering teachers together. No need to find a room, to come to go to that room, to arrange their schedule, timetable. They can meet anywhere and everywhere if they have good cell phones and good connection. Then they used OneDrive, and they said that it is very good to keep all the documentation in one place, accumulate resources, necessary literature. Then they mentioned the use of online tools for creating documents for shared use, like Google Docs, Google Presentations, Padlet, Jamboard, etc. This made it easy to collect data together, to accumulate data. Then they had a broader opportunity to have or to invite knowledgeable others for example, from other cities, from other organizations. They invited us to their lessons and lesson study cycles. They to interview students after the lesson synchronously and asynchronously, quite possible through the link in Google Forms or through the WhatsApp or some such kind of platforms. And of course, video recordings as an additional tool to help see the things that the teacher might not notice. So, they said that what are advantages can be preserved during the traditional lesson study. This year, Kazakhstan started traditional schooling, no online, and the interviewers were sure that they will preserve all the advantages of online lesson study. One thing that shouldn't be done online, these are lessons and observing of the lessons. So I'm finishing with my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. So I'm ready to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Tavilya. An inspiring sharing indeed by Madam Tavilya. I'm sure there are a lot of questions pouring in from our audience. And as you're ready, Madam, we do know the development of lesson study is very positive and successful in Kazakhstan, whereby the Center of Excellence COE was awarded by the Board of World Association of Lesson Studies WALS in 2015. So congratulations on this, right? I would just want to know, there's a question here, how do actually the COE has encouraged or motivated teachers to keep on doing lesson study even in the COVID-19 pandemic?
It is an interesting question. We cannot and we shouldn't force anyone to do something. We can give seminars, webinars. So through this, we showed that it is quite possible to do lesson study online. Of course, I'm sure that the number of teachers who dealt with lesson study during the pandemic period become less. This is obvious because, like in any country, Kazakhstani schools struggled with passing to online schooling. This was the most difficult issue for them, and lesson study just was put a bit aside. But there were many schools, according to our interviews and to our connections with other Center of Excellence regions, branches, that it still is being done by schools. We have regional conferences where we for example, in October, it will be held in December, and there we will show all the cases, try to show all the cases of lesson study that was being done during the pandemic period. This will be also motivation. In 2020, at our regional conference, these groups from this school, they demonstrated their experience in conducting online lesson study, and this also motivated them, the rest of the teachers.
I see. Thank you, Madam Tavilya. I'm actually happy to see and very intrigued when we could see the development of lesson study in Kazakhstan, starting from the in-service teacher training. They will have post-course support and cascade training, also conferences, and the continuous support given by WALS on lesson study modules, actually. There's one more question, madam, if you don't mind. For those teachers or educators who are still conducting lesson study, whether online, right, especially online nowadays, how does the COE ensure that that is done by teachers in your schools, and how to make sure that the effect of it will actually be done to other teachers as well?
Excuse me, Debbie, your speech stopped several times, so could you repeat your question, please? Debbie, I think something stopped. I was not able to hear the question.
Okay, I think you have something technical problem here. Okay, so we will wait for our moderator first. Okay. So maybe you can continue with some idea from Kazakhstan, Madam Tavilya.
Debbie asked a question, and I was not able to hear it.
There's some from our audience here, from Lai Mui Quen. She think that we should continue utilizing education web tools that we have discovered and use while carrying out our online lessons should be physical class. So what is your opinion about this? Okay, I think Debbie.
Yeah.
Okay, hello, Debbie. I think Debbie
Hello.
is. Yeah.
This is what our teachers whom I interviewed told about it. That is, continue using all those new tools or the tools that they hadn't used before the pandemic and discovered during the pandemic period, to use this, to continue using it, because it enhances lesson study. Debbie, could you repeat your question, please? Your last question.
All right, madam. Yes, sorry, madam. Okay, thank you very much. So the question was, what are the, for example, how does the COE, Center of Excellence in Kazakhstan, ensure the sustainability of lesson study done by teachers, especially online lesson studies nowadays in the schools?
Well, you know that Center of Excellence has established the whole system of leading schools. That is, we assist those leading schools. We are in direct contact with the coordinators of these. We coordinate the work of leading schools in this direction, and we conduct interviews. This year in September, we will have an questionnaire which all these leading schools fill in order to see the way at what level they are conducting it. Then we, of course, before the pandemic period, we visited all these schools. We as knowledgeable others, but nowadays it is difficult to visit these schools, but we are in direct contact with the directors of these schools. That is, there is a good network of Center of Excellence, then leading schools, And each leading school has its partner schools. And you see that everything that we do with the leading schools is done with the leading schools with partner schools. That is direct connection, direct communication, and through all those things like webinars, seminars, consultations. And then when we prepare trainers for a lesson study, as I told you, we prepare trainers of lesson study. And Center of Excellence has these people, the groups of these people, and they have a collaboration through WhatsApp chat or through other kinds of meetings. Of course,
Thank you very much, madam.
The country is rather large, and it is difficult. We understand it is much work, but still, it should be done.
Thank you very much, madam, for the insight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We truly appreciate it, and thank you very much for being here with us today. Thank you again, Madam Tavilya.
Thank you for inviting.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still here bringing you live in Tuaran, MOE, YouTube, and Facebook here in Tuaran, Sabah, Malaysia, sharing with you a professional learning community forum enabling the education office towards a new norm education. I would like to introduce to all of you a great man from the land of K-pops. I'm very sure you could guess the country. He is the former principal of Baeksong Elementary School, South Korea, just recently retired this year, but an educator of 41 years of experience and full of dedication even after his retirement. He held the positions as an elementary teacher, moving up as a principal, as well as qualified training and recreational instructor and a scout training leader. He was actively involved in scout cultural exchange programs between Korea and Sabah, held as the director of English teacher training in Toronto, Canada, the vice director of English training in management, and the instructor of the UNESCO International Exchange and Cooperation Organization. A great achievement throughout his teaching years, whereby he was awarded 7 times by the Ministry of Education, a Medal of Best Public Officer, a Medal of Hangzhou Gunjong by the Government of the Republic of Korea, and Volunteer Grand Award by the Korea Scout Association. We are honored to have him here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Joyan Lee aka Mr. Swallow. Annyeong haseyo. Selamat datang from us here in Sabah, land below the wind, Mr. Lee.
안녕하세요.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good.
Welcome, Mr. Lee. Yes.
Yeah, please show me my presentation. Okay, yeah. Apa kabar? Salamat sejbe. Konnichiwa. 안녕하세요. In Korea. Nice to meet you. I'm Joyan Lee, the former principal of Baeksong Elementary School in Korea, Goyang City. Thank you for inviting me as a panel member at Tuaran Education Office in Sabah, Malaysia, which held this forum today. And thank you, Operator Debby and the Professor Vidi and the staff for preparing this forum. And I'd like to express my gratitude to Professor Sarkar and Dr. Sarkozy for participating in the forum together. As you know, full of the love and joy, the Happiness Learning Center for Dreaming Children is my school management policy. I retired the last February in 2021. I worked worked in the school 41 years. 41 years. So I teach my student 27 years, and I work the vice principal and the principal 14 years. So long time. In Korea, 62 become 62 years old, all of teachers retire. And now I am no work, freelance. So today, I'd like to talk about the situation of education and the corona and the direction of future education. For your information, if you want to ask me question during my presentation, I'd appreciate it if you could write them down in the chatting room anytime. First, I will tell you about the situation of students on the corona based on the condition of Korea. The situation in Korea, COVID-19 based on the situation in Korea, continued online Zoom classes at school for students from the March 2nd, 2020, from last year. In Korea, divided two semester, 1 year, divided two semester. First semester started the 1st of March, and the second is 1st of September. So now this time belong the second semester. So many schools students just 3 or 5 days ago they started to go school, sometimes online at their home. The second cross school day and the school day by grade is very important. Is the Korea now the Korea many school, all of the school, the following the government the order like that. From the 2020 1st September. According to the table, is a school day. This month, the first and second grade student every day they go to school. But third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade student they go to school every other week. Following the table, the fourth and third week, the Monday, Tuesday, they studied at school, and the other days, they studied online at their home. And the second, fourth week, change it. Monday, Tuesdays, online their home, and the other 3 days studied at their home school. And the fourth and sixth grade changes. Third and fifth grade students change every week. But less than 300 schools are allowed to go to school. In the city, in the big city has many students over the 300. So this table include usually big city or usually school over the 300 students, but small school students go to the school every day. Two problems caused by the situation that lasted until February 2020. The first, in terms of students, A, poor adaptability of low-grade students to go school. After after graduate kindergarten, they enter the elementary school. But in Corona situation, they don't meet their friend. They don't meet their teachers. They don't meet their anyone in the school. Only stay their home. So after 1 year in Corona, the government recognized about that they looks like a kindergarten student because they can't meet, they can't study in the school. So there are many problems in there. So poor adaptability is very serious problem in Korea. B, less social interaction between friends. Every school, every grade, same. They become and they belong a new class at a new school, but they don't meet their friends, their teachers. So there are no social interaction between their friends. C, increase the depression. It's the same with their parents and the adult and everything. But luckily in Korea is okay and free. We can move pretty everywhere with their family and their friend. But the government prohibit only meeting time or meeting person. After 6 p.m. we can't meet over the 2 people. But daytime we can go only 4 peoples go to restaurant and other place. But it's very seriously increase the depression all of the people and also student. And the academic degradation due to non-face-to-face learning. The government Sabah and the institute, the implementation of Corona 2020, and they check and the exam after result of the exam make some problem like that. The middle school means secondary school in Korean middle school, high school. The 3 different subjects, Korean and the mathematics and English. The percentage increased, the lack of basic education. So you can need the lower rank, middle and lower rank student is increased, and the high class student is reduced. So next, I was a teacher and the principal, so it's very important the side of in Corona situation. So many Korean teachers always say and have a complaint about the teaching the situation under the Corona. So they increase the fatigue from the non-face-to-face classes. Really, it's very seriously problem. Every teachers. B, produce various online class materials. Korean teachers try to make their own method or their own material to teaching. So especially online tools and the equipment is very developed in Korea. So many teachers use it and make new materials, new teaching 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 way, and they share each other many things, teaching things, and always they try to very eagerly. Essence of student life guidance is the first problem from the parents. They always stay their home, so they don't. Nobody check and nobody hesitate about their behavior. So many parents are always consulting and the counseling. They want counseling to their teachers about their life guidance. And the budget to expand the online tools. Many teachers want the more budget from the government or from the Office of Education. For example, Wi-Fi, school Wi-Fi, it means school Wi-Fi, and the computer, the high-speed computer, and the TV. TV means the big size TV in the classroom, every classroom. I will show you later. And the dual monitor. Dual monitor means every class, every teacher want to have a dual monitor in their classroom, the table. So many schools, I think all of the school principals assist the dual monitor and for teaching many materials. And the TV camera, headphone set, and the e-pad is tablet PC. And the individual pens on desk. You know what it is? Individual pens only for quarantine. I show you. It's a usual scenery of Korean teachers. Mask, face mask, but when the teaching only online in this classroom, only one, he stay only one, so he don't need a mask like her. The many all of the students participate the Zoom online. In Korea, we always teaching the Zoom class. Online class means in Korea Zoom. So we use a Zoom program like that, and the big monitor, big TV for teaching, and we will show the many videos and many things. The dual monitor, and the microphone, and the camera. It's a hot and cold air conditioner and the heater. Air conditioner and heater. Sometimes different two types. One is for ceiling, and one is stand type. And this is the individual pens, like a PVC, made by PVC. Every student's desk, on the desk, and mask, very tight, really at the suffocate. And many other things, but other materials and other tools in Korea classroom has a classroom. So government and the Office of Education support and assist many money and many tools. So I think in Korea classroom is the best of the world school. So many teachers very happy and convenience to use it, very really happy, and they don't feel is is okay. When I visit Malaysia, I'm sorry, when I visit Malaysia, Kota Kinabalu, and Sembulan, Sekolah Sembulan. So I visit many times. So, and there are many my friend, Malaysian teacher friend in there. So we always talking about that. So in the Malaysian is the shutdown all of the school, and they don't move anywhere. So I heard about that. Oh, I hope to get well better and get well soon. So I really hope to visit again the Kota Kinabalu and the Sembulan, Sekolah Sembulan. The school education situation in Korea, the first, attempting various methods for online class from around 10 years. When I was a teacher 15 years ago, usually we teach only one chalk and the blackboard, but now is all of the change. So we don't use a chalk and the marker, whiteboard and marker, and sometimes, many times, we use the computer and the big TV. So it's very easy to use the young generation teacher. So they developing and uploading data and the online class videos, sharing each other teachers. So the Ministry of Education requests to strengthen preparation for online classes for future education. It's very important. The Korea government always emphasize about the prepare the future education. They always say, and they give the official letter, and to training the teachers and give them money, much of the budget. So all of the material and tools and instrument is enough. So I hope all of the teacher to be a new generation, the new future teacher, and they can try the more the skillful teachers and the respectable from the student and parent teachers. 3, supporting for training all teachers for strengthen online classes. Same. The support budget for purchasing modern educational equipment. Yeah. And the 5, sharing educational materials. So apply the variety of cloud and including YouTube. In Korea, there are many sites, the educational site, the private site. So there are sometimes free, sometimes paid. So we can use the cloud or any program, any site freely if they want, anytime. The government or the schools assist money to teachers. Sharing data from the private education companies is sometimes paid, sometimes free. So some people use their hard case or the international tools, so they save and share all of their teaching methods. So government assistance in diagnosing learning deficiencies So following the table, you can see the government assistant with learning, psychological and emotional social ability, the physical health. Really, so Korea government always think about and emphasize and want to supply and assist, support the many money and the level of the educational, the lower student. Sometimes they assist the physical health and the emotional and the many consultant and the consultant teacher, sometimes the nurse teacher, and many variety teachers stay in school, and they support the student and the teachers in school. For the direction of education to future, I think it's very similar, and this time is the exercise for future education. So Corona is very good opportunity, really. So we will make good use of this opportunity, and we need to make it a fundamental opportunity for future education. So the way is first increase student interest and participation through continuous online class until the end of the COVID-19. We don't know what time is the end of the COVID-19, so we will try. And in case of Korea, over the 60% population was shot the vaccine, and our government tried to before the 2 week, over the 70% the population wanted to be shot vaccine. So every day, over the 500,000 people were shot in corona vaccine. So I hope to be end of the corona before long. In this year. Second, suggest the way to future education regardless of the end of pandemic. Yeah, it's the same way. 3, an opportunity for the transition of traditional school education to a great extent. Yes, it's before I say like that, it's a really good chance. So in Korea, already according to the world, so crisis is chance. So we don't complain about the corona. So we use and make a change and to be a good opportunity to the future education. For the paradigm shift for future education for future generations. So I feel very much the different gap between the old generation and the young generation. So I have a daughter. Is my very precious daughter, because when I was 51 years old, I got a daughter, very young. Now she's fifth grade, very young. So I always watch and see her very nervous every time conflict, and every time shout, every time fight. The mind is different. We are old generation, and they are new generation. So all of the things is different. But finally, I decide change my mind and change my all of the word and the behavior. It's very important. I adjust to them. So so I understand that, and I understand all of the thing of them. The five is same, changing teachers' consciousness and strengthen their ability as leader of future education. So many teachers like me, the old generation teachers cannot accept the change and the new wave of the educational change. So when I was a principal, I always say, and please change and practice, and study new trend of the education. So many teachers accept their all of the mind and all of their things and the behavior to adjust the new generation's teaching method. The epilogue. Final, I want to say the teachers must take the leading role in reading education and have the capabilities to do so. Corona has many difficulties in conducting online classes through unfamiliar environments. But this opportunity will require continuous cooperation and communication from all members of today's forum to set the right milestone in education for generations, growing with various directions and preemptive challenges. I know, and as you know, the teacher is the main key of education. So if teacher change, the student change. If teacher keep their tradition, their student like that and following him. So if teacher change and that if teacher makes the all of the thing of the educational environment, so government and the Office of Education always try to change their mind and that they increase the ability of education and teaching. So indeed many different and budget and other things, but especially most of the important thing is teacher's mind and the teacher's will. I always think about that. The teacher is important. The education changes after 100 years country. So we will always try to make a good education, and so we have a duty and the responsibility to teaching their student. It means everybody know about that education is very important of the country or nation. So Thank you for my presentation. I want to thank you for listening to my favorite sing a song. If you write a question while listening to the song, I will answer sincerely after the song is over. In the YouTube, there are some videos of mine. I will show you. With some time. Yeah, sure. In YouTube, searching my name. Sorry. Yeah. And you can find it's me. Many. I'm very sorry. Around 9 years ago, when I was a vice principal, so I performed the big stage in Korea. So I like sing a song very much. So, but it's very shy. And, during the performance, the William Mark Joseph Lodge asked question: how about the involvement of parents and the community toward school in South Korea? Very good question. Thank you for William Mark Joseph Lodge. So in Korea, the parents' participation is very important in school. So government and the local office of education always they assist the participate the parent to school's meeting. So school management committee, every school has their school management committee is following the law. So it's a duty. Every school has their meeting, teachers and the parents. Looks like a parent meeting. So they always say and talking about many things of the school. So sometimes they vote many things. So sometimes principal dislike about that. Some people interrupt and some people say to over. So, but I think it's very positive way to make a good school and a good educational society of school. So in Korea, it's a law, like educational law. So every school has their school management committee. And other way, many parents always ask to some call and message every different way. They ask and request many things for their student or school. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. Mr. Swallow, for your sharing just now. I truly like when you mentioned about the paradigm shift in education, which is truly important and very important for us today, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic, right? Now, thank you, Mr. Lee, our second speaker, for his sharing in Korea's best practices in teaching and learning. We truly learned a lot from him. Thank you very much, Mr. Lee.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned with us after this montage, and we will bring you more sharing from our third speaker. Members of the audience, thank you for still being with us here. A professional learning community forum on enabling the education office towards a new norm education, focusing on the best practices in teaching and learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome back, everybody. Our final speaker hails from the land of the rising sun. A little bit of tip there. He is a professor of teacher education in the Graduate School of Education and Human Development, Japan. He's got an extensive experience in education with research areas of expertise in teacher education in theory and practice of teaching and learning pedagogy. And he has written extensively on cross-cultural analysis of lessons in Singapore, Malaysia, Iran, as well as focusing on lesson study as a Japanese approach of delivering science of improvement and as a global solution for improving teaching and enhancing. He was participated in international conferences and published papers in both national and international journals in English, Japanese, and Persian. Ladies and gentlemen, let us Arani from Nagoya University, Japan. Ohayo gozaimasu, Dr. Arani. How are you today?
Konnichiwa. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Doctor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your contribution and for your participant. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. Thank you very much for your officer, supporters, and all of participants. My name is Arani from Nagoya University. I am here in Nagoya, Central Japan. The weather is not bad. Today we have a good weather, and I'm going to share my idea about both of your presentation here from Kazakhstan and from Korea. I hope to share you something that will open a new dimension of variation and a new direction on teaching and learning during this pandemic. Thanks all, especially my colleagues, Mr. Lee from Korea and Madam Tavilya from Kazakhstan, for sharing their cross-cultural experience of learning in the situation as well as online lesson study and the way to take a student voice in the post-discussion lesson and during this very challenging situation. Especially Madam Tavilya focus on how lesson study can lead to deeper understanding of the cultural script of teaching and to expand international dialogue among teachers. It is dependent on where do you stand or we are stand. A lot of teachers in the world have chance to observe each other lesson, then study what they have learned. They share what they have learned. Sometimes they try to analyze the data collected from their observation and have post-discussion based on the data. The so-called lesson study. A cross-cultural analysis provides a different lens, is more a little bit deeper than just observation or just a study or analysis. Cross-cultural analysis provides a different lens which can lead to deeper of the logic of pedagogy. That sometimes we do, but we don't know how we do. Then we try to explain our argument and reasoning about the situation of teaching, teacher, learning and a student, good or bad. So, therefore, a cross-cultural analysis among teachers and nation, you can provide better understanding of the so-called the DNA of teaching, and you can make the autonomy of a student learning more clear. For example, in Iran, when the teacher after the lesson come together to discuss on teaching and learning, they immediately focus on teacher behavior. However, Japanese educator more focus on learner and quality of learning. How about Malaysia? How about Korea? How about Kazakhstan? Effective teaching needs deeper understanding of real time, real problem of life, real practice, especially teacher ability, and not only through certification or qualification or age or years of experience and so on. More important is the ability and the way to teach and be independent. A teacher can say why. Yesterday, I received four questions to address on this session from Madam Dewi. Madam, do you remember your question?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. The first question is, how is the situation among students and teachers in Japan during the pandemic? I have to say that the schools are open here in Japan. However, the situation provides more opportunity for teachers to see each student situation, to see more clearly and more in depth each student situation, and look more at content, discipline, test, assessment through eyes of students, through eyes of students. We have some chance, but never we have this chance that we go through the textbook, the drill, the exam, the content, the disciplines, the subject matter through the eyes of students. Question 2 is, how does this situation has affected the teaching and learning in Japan? The situation offers more technological tools and facilities for schools and classrooms, as Mr. Lee mentioned. Again and again, a lot of tools provided for classroom activities. However, teachers try to customize teaching and personalize learning, not replacement their responsibility to tools, to technology, to ICT. Customized teaching and personalized learning in practice is very different and very difficult. They believe that pedagogy is first and technology is second. In some of our country or nation or school or district, it is absolutely different. We bring technology as first, and teacher designer and designing our learning as customize our teaching is become the second. They, Japanese teacher, have a lot of technology, but believe that pedagogy is first and technology is second. The third question is, what are the ways the education officer are able to assist teacher in their professional development in facing this situation? They always ask what we have to do I would like to ask them, please please stop to do anything. Please believe your teachers. Please trust your teachers. This is more important. Officer and office need more evidence for practices, for effective analysis what happened in the school and classroom. Officer and office need more evidence for interpretation and more detailed explanation and examination what is happening in teaching and what is goes in the classroom to obtain a better understanding of students, to understanding each student, to explain the relation between teaching and learning. We focus more on teacher and teaching. We need to focus more on learner and learning. To better understanding how teachers are teaching. How teachers are teaching. The most teachers care about time, care about textbook, care about exam, and sometimes we forget the main objective of school and education and office and officer, which is the children and the student. To argue on the logic of their pedagogical decision. Sometimes our logic is not reliable to each other. I care, and I couldn't say not validity, but sometimes it's not reliable. To recognize the ways of communication, the body language and interaction in the classroom, in the school, between the students, between teachers, and between teacher and principal, and also between principal and district or board of education. To describe the subject didact, for example, science or math, methodological approach of teacher with their students is absolutely different between the subject matter, between the grade, between the school, and between the area. In addition, we here means office and officer need more opportunity for teachers, collegial learning, and self-directed learning. Self-directed learning and share their experience during this situation for better designing teaching and learning, and spiritual that support learning design in practice. We sometimes looking more to find new tools, but sometimes we need more emotional support, more spiritual, more emotional energy to provide our experience for new situation, especially practice within reflection. It is because teaching is designing a student learning. Teaching is not talking and talking and talking. Teaching is designing a student learning, not just talk and talk and talk. The fourth question, what do you think of parents' involvement in the student learning during this pandemic? First, we have to encourage parents to trusting teachers' professionality. This is very important thing. Then we ask them to learn from their children and try to look at their learning activity more in detail. I think parents can help us to link subject matters with real life problem solving. We have a lot of content, absolutely not close relation with our area or situation or geographic or historical background. So parents can help teachers to linking for students. Final question, what are the best practice in Japan during this pandemic? Japanese teacher try to apply this situation for more expanding tools during classroom activities and use tablet, internet to encourage a student to be self-directed learner. Sometimes we provide tools for easy to talk and more talk. No. Provide tablet, provide internet, provide different way through online learning or e-learning to encourage a student to be more active, to be more self-directed learner. However, they care more about real-life problem solving ability and competency rather than content. This situation changed education from focus on content to focus on competency, which is needed for exam or official test, especially during the compulsory education, elementary and first secondary education period. Until now, we focused on what we know. But from now, we need to focus more on what we can do with what we know. Japanese educator and policymaker and researcher are looking for more change within reform. Am I clear? We have a lot of change, but not reform, not improvement. No, we have a chance to rethinking about our change. We have a lot of change, but not improvement. Japanese educator, policymaker, and researcher are looking for more change within reform, change within improvement. In this situation, they know very well that technologies are encouraging us for change. Technology encourages us for change. However, technology cannot replace effective policy, effective decision for education. Technology cannot cover teacher professionality to design learning. Based on my observation, Japanese rethink how to back to the basics in education. See children's situation carefully. Care about quality of learning. Ask more why question, not only what question, where question, who, how question. And focus on core subjects and recall time by time, less is more, especially for content, especially for exam, especially for official tests. From international dialogue perspective, transnational learning, such as this session today, we faced opportunity to open a dialogue with our data, so-called open-ended dialogue with data, with experience, layer by layer, time by time, lens by lens, slice by slice, like when you cut open an onion. This allows us to see each layer is different situation, different capacity, different interpretation we needed to explain. When you have a collegial learning through lesson study, cross-cultural lesson analysis, transnational learning, then the first step is to acknowledge order. Acknowledge orders, it means you have to know more about the order. The orderness is very important. The second step is to understand each other more deep. The third step is respects order. And finally, the fourth step is to recognize others while thinking about the process and the mechanism of understanding. the so-called understanding of the understanding the other. It means between two students, two teachers, two districts of education in Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Kazakhstan, Korea, Japan, and the others. I hope this session and other opportunity for collegial learning, interprofessional analysis, and international learning provide us opportunity to think about technology and pedagogy, about content and real life, about the content and competency, and what we have to do as changer within improvement, not looking change without improvement. This situation provides this learning opportunity, and thank you very much for this time to share my idea with you. Thanks you, Debbie, for your question, good question, and Mr. Lee and the other colleague for sharing our idea here. I hope this situation provide more ask why question. Why this? Why that? Why here? Why I? Why you? And so on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Salam. Thank you very much, Doctor, for all the answers given for the questions, actually. And all the answers are the ones that we are looking for, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic, which are essential for our educators. I'm sure in Malaysia, the educators agree with this. Yes, Doctor? And I truly would like to stress the ones that you had mentioned about customized teaching, personalized living, this one, right? Customized teaching, personalized teaching, which is actually very important for us. It's about whereby teachers need to focus more on what they do in their activities, in their teaching and learning activities, rather than doing it for the sake of doing the teaching and learning itself. And whereby Doctor already mentioned, he also mentioned that technology cannot change teachers' professionalism. It's all about the pedagogy. Technology is only a tool to help us. So this is something that we need to realize. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from 3 speakers from different countries on the best practices in teaching and learning during this COVID-19 pandemic. There are many issues and suggested ideas given. Some are very synonymous to what we are facing here in Malaysia, and some new practices that we actually have learned. Here we need to focus on teachers' professional development, and we need all the public support that we can get. In order for this to happen, the collaboration between the public, this includes the government, the Ministry of Education, schools, teachers, parents, and students need to be strengthened. And one of the ways to ensure this is through continuous professional learning meetings and discussions. A balance has to be met and implemented with continuous researches and sharing on best practices in teaching and learning from all over the world. Because from this that we learn new ideas from each other and we support each other. So today's PLC Forum is one of the ways to reach out and help our fellow educators. So let's fight this together, find better ways to improve on our teaching and learning for the sake of our children and ourselves and the community. So let's find the balance. And here are some of the variables that I can conclude from our 3 speakers. First of all is the professional development on lesson study and professional development of teachers, the perseverance that we need to have in ourselves, and also welfare of our teachers in terms of their emotion and health that needs to be taken care of. Ladies and gentlemen, we do know change is inevitable, but growth is optional. A quote by Albert Einstein, the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. For this, I would like to invite our 3 speakers again with us here. Madam Tavilya, Mr. Lee, and Dr. Arani.
Hi. Thank you very
Hello.
much you inviting.
Yes.
Hi.
Maybe the three of you would like to give the last few words before we go towards the end of the session today.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Anytime, okay.
Any hopes and wishes that would like to convey to our audience today? Madam Tavilya?
Well, thanks again for inviting to this conference. And we need to understand that in any time, pandemic or non-pandemic, teachers should work much with understanding of their students. If they understand the needs of their students, then their pedagogy will change.
Mr. Arai, may I have a question about the Japanese condition?
Okay, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, after Tokyo Olympic, the many the corona patient increase in Japan. How about the school's condition?
School condition is the same situation, and as you mentioned, from September, all our schools is open here. Yeah, open and careful. Not from last year, from last July, schools are open here. Yeah.
And the Nagoya is better than other place, Tokyo or Kyoto. How about the Nagoya condition?
Nagoya condition also is the same, not so different. Yeah.
Increase every day. Increase.
Time by time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. And last but not least, from our third speaker, Dr. Arani, any last hopes and wishes that would like to share with our audience today, Doctor?
Well, thank you very much, and especially thank Mr. Lee. I learned from you because time by time I visit Korean school and in South Korea. And,
Yes.
Yeah. And Madam Tavilya, thank you very much for introducing our association, the World Conference. And it was good to know more about Kazakhstan because Chichibu Sensei and Kuno Sensei also, we are colleagues, and we
Great.
we talk almost about Kazakhstan experience about applying lesson study for professional development. And no, I just wanted to focus on pedagogy rather than technology, because technology sometimes we think that technology can replace main teacher. Of course, technology change teacher situation or professionality, but it is correct. But sometimes, as Mr. Lee said, that in Korea, in some countries, the government would like to push schools and education system to be online. So sometimes we think that we don't need a school, we don't need teacher, and teaching machine is provide everything, a lot of drill, and you pay and you access and you blah blah. But I would like to focus that teacher is very important, and technology never replacement teachers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of our three speakers.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Thank you
Japanese say,
again to all of the three
that
speakers.
the first pedagogy, second technology.
I
It's
think
high technology here. You see, Japan is high technology level, but their vision is first pedagogy, second technology.
I think the pandemic situation just underlined the importance of teachers.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Especially for customized teaching for each children,
Yeah,
because
right.
each children is very important. Still no, as Mr. Lee said, we almost time care about content, care about textbook, care about curriculum. But these situations open our eyes to children. That all of things, all of us here because of children. We forgot it, the main objective. Yeah, thank
Absolutely.
you, Mr. Lee. Yeah,
Thank you.
Very well said, Dr.
Thank
Arani.
you.
Thank you very
thank you.
much to all of our three speakers. We would like to actually invite you again, hopefully in the future, that if you have another PLC forum like this. Yes, thank you very
Not
much.
like not
Please
like
stay.
this. Just fly.
Hopefully, we
unless,
pray for the best,
unless
doctor. Yes,
and ask
Fly,
Mr. Lee
fly
to
to
solve.
KK, Sabah. Fly to Sabah
yes,
and
please.
get
Yeah.
Yes, you're always welcome. We will be waiting for you, the three of you here.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please stay
Yes.
together. Yes,
Thank you.
Hope to meet you.
ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
keep on staying tuned there. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us here in PPD Tuaran MOE YouTube channel and Facebook today. Do not forget to fill in the attendance link. Do like, subscribe, and share our YouTube and Facebook channels. Your support and deeds mean so much to us. Never give up, but safety and health do come first. Thank you, and our biggest gratitude to our speakers today. Thank you for sharing with us. On behalf of the committee of today's PLC, gratitude from Puan Haja Wanhir binti Othman, the head officer of Tuaran District Education Office, and the head officers and officers of the District Education Office of Batu Pahat Johor, Putrajaya Education Department of the Federal Territory, and the District Education Office of Seberang Perai Selatan, Penang. Dr. B.T. Ansawi, Madam Lee Tan Yan Peng, and Madam Sylvia Meeting Pakoy, and myself, Tuaran District Education Officers, we would like to convey our utmost gratitude to all and do join us again next time. Assalamualaikum. Good day, everybody. To all the panels, please on your camera to commemorate our beautiful memory today. And thank you very much to all audience. We truly are grateful. Thank you very much. See you again.